What's up, y'all? Let's do this. Hi guys, welcome to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host. Today guys, we gotta talk about several articles I got from reclaimthenet.org, the Daily Signal, and the Blaze. They all center around vaccine, your privacy rights, and all that shit. Alright, so we gotta talk about that and many more, guys. But before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I'm also on Locals, guys. If you guys want to support and sponsor this podcast show, if you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, guys, please hit that like, subscribe. Please give me a review, good, bad, and the ugly. And also, guys, I do have affiliate sponsors with eBay, Amazon, and Shabari Study. If you guys want to support me through those affiliate links, the link's in the description below. Alright? And before we get the show, literally, you guys on the road, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nicky's World, please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today. Woo-wee. Wow. Formalities are done. You know what this means. It's Tuesday. I am on the road, on the way to work. As always, working to be poor, because no matter how much money I make in this liberal, progressive, blue state of Connecticut, I get taxed to oblivion, and I'm always poor, you know? So that's why I never make any money in this state. I never do, guys. I never do. So, and I'm also diapered up, so I'm ready to go as well. Okay, so I'm diapered up, ready to go. Alright? So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the show on the road, guys. Let's get the show on the road. Now, there are several articles on reclaimthenet.org that have a central theme in all this. And guess what the theme is all this, guys? It centers around COVID misinformation, your First Amendment rights, and your right to privacy. It seems to me, guys, this first article from reclaimthenet.org, that the New York Times, the fucking failing New York Times, thinks the First Amendment is a barrier to combat what they perceive to be disinformation and misinformation. Here's the problem, failing New York Times. The First Amendment is there to protect everyone's right to freedom of speech. It doesn't matter if it's hate speech or disinformation or misinformation. I will defend your right to speak freely. But I won't stand for you saying that, First Amendment in a way of combating what you believe to be disinformation or misinformation. Here's my thing, guys. Here's my thing. I don't care if you believe that it's misinformation or disinformation. I don't care. That is your right to figure that out. You have a constitutional right to whatever speech you want to hear. Okay? And I'll defend that. What I won't defend is you trying to silence everyone else's rights to freedom of speech just because you don't like their opinions or you don't like their thinking. I won't defend that. I won't. And I'll call you out for it at every turn. It is simple as that. Okay? It is simple as that. Because the fact of the matter is, we still live in a democracy here in America. We still live here in the freedom-loving city on the shining hill, the United States of America, and we have the United States Constitution. The problem here is you have people on the left who want to take away your First and Second Amendment rights. And we're going to have to talk about the Second Amendment rights here too in a bit shortly, because I got to tell you this. It's getting ugly here. It's getting ugly. Now, the fact of the matter is, the failing New York Times thinks that misinformation and disinformation is not protected by the First Amendment. But the problem is, you have a First Amendment right to speak whatever you want. You can say shit and you're protected. You can talk shit about your government and your rights are protected. We don't live in a country where if you talk shit about the government, that you'd have some secret police come barging in at your door, yanking your ass and throwing you in some secret prison and torturing you to death, and you wouldn't be heard from ever again. We're not like those third world authoritarian countries. We're not. But the left wants to be like that. That's why it's like this. That's why it's like this, ladies and gentlemen. Your rights are what I will defend. Okay? Your rights are what I will fight for. Okay? You have a constitutional right to speak freely and to speak up against your government, whether you like it or not. Okay? You have that constitutional right. The problem is the lunatic left thinks that you shouldn't have the right. You shouldn't have the right to expose a man in a dress for what he is. It's like the left thinks that you don't have a right to that. But I tell you what, you have a constitutional right. And if the left doesn't like it, here's my double-barrel friendly family middle finger to them. Yeah. But to me, I think like this. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is. And then take it to another step further. There is an article in the same reclaimthenet.org where the state of New York, of all places, the authoritarian state of New York has what they call a disinformation board, where they are trying to combat your First Amendment rights. where they are trying to suppress your First Amendment rights. Last I checked, New York, we have a First Amendment right in the Constitution, and I have the copy of the Constitution in my bag, and I've checked. We do have the First Amendment right for freedom of speech. Last I checked, New York, it seems that that fucking stupid, retarded governor of New York, I believe her name is Hutchinson. She created a disinformation board to combat so-called misinformation about COVID or anything else, in clear violation of our First Amendment rights in this country. Clearly, New York is competing with every other liberal blue state in who can sink low and who can sink to the bottom fast. Basically, they're competing with California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and how fucking low can they fucking really go? Yeah. It's basically a race to the fucking bottom here, ladies and gentlemen. It is. And all these deep blue liberal Democrat states are all competing in who can get to the bottom first. And it seems like there's a competition going on, and I think we may have to do a scoreboard here, guys. I think I may have to start doing that, you know? I may have to start doing a scoreboard on the race to the bottom competition between liberal blue states and see who can get to the bottom first. Sort of like the Kentucky Derby of it all. Okay? But this time it's going to be who can get to the fucking bottom first. We may have to do that. I may have to discuss that idea on doing that as a competition on who is in the lead in the race to the fucking bottom and who will reach rock bottom first. I may have to do that, you know. I may have to, guys. I seriously do. I seriously do. But I'll say this to the state of New York and to that fucking retarded governor. Go shove it up your fucking ass. Seriously. And by the way, I'm from Connecticut. Don't dump your fucking New Yorkers in this state, you dumbass. Your fucking stupid liberals ruined New York, and now you want to ruin Connecticut when we already have our own idiots that are doing it? Don't, okay? Don't. Really. Don't, okay? Don't. I seriously, don't. Alright? But in another article on the same place, reclaimthenet.org, this one, guys, this takes the phrase "you and what army" to a whole fucking level here, folks. I'm talking about the New York State Board of Ed, where they have basically fingerprinted everyone who refused to take the vaccine and sent their fingerprints to the FBI so they can sick on them because they refuse to go along with the Branch Covidians and the cult of COVID. I saw this article on the same place, reclaimthenet.org. I was like, the people in New York and the New York Board of Ed have taken the phrase, "you and what army," to a whole fucking level here. Seriously. They have taken that phrase, "you and what army," to a whole new level that I've never fucking seen. Okay? The story behind this is that the teachers who refused to take the vaccine were forced to submit an FBI fingerprint, and then the state board of ed sent their fingerprints to the FBI so they can sick on them. This is why we are living in an authoritarian North Korean-like state. Even Kim Jong-un is going, you guys are making me look bad. You guys are making me look like I'm normal. Yeah. The New York State Board of Ed has the fucking nerve to sick the FBI on unvaccinated teachers and ruining their fucking life. I gotta say this. I hope the lawyers clean out the New York State Board of Ed and the state out of existence. Let's just say it's like this. I hope the lawyers get 10% of the lawsuit money when they clean the state out. Basically, this is where I go like this. The people who did that should be arrested royally. The people who basically abuse the FBI, use the FBI to go after people who were unvaccinated. I'm going to say this to the New York Board of Ed. Fuck you. Fuck yourself. You're full of shit. You're a bunch of pussies. And you're a weak-ass son of a bitches. I hope you get myocarditis. Simple as that. But to see the state demand unvaccinated teachers submit like their fingerprints to the fucking FBI so they can have them sick on them and basically basically make their life a living hell. This is, last I checked, I'm in the United States of America. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? Last I checked, it seems like these branch Covidians and these damn teachers union, they want to punish everyone who doesn't go along with their ideology and their culture. This is why I am all for getting rid of public sector unions. I am all for getting rid of teachers unions. It's time. I go with this. It's time we go after these unions. Start bringing in RICO. I mean, RICO would love to go after the teachers union. Just think what RICO would do to the teachers union, ladies and gentlemen. RICO here, my friend RICO here, he would literally send the teachers union to federal prison for a minimum of 20 years. And he would make sure they would never see the light of day. He would make sure they would never see freedom. Period. Believe me, this is an example, ladies and gentlemen, of abuse of power. And these people will never let go of power because COVID is a vehicle for them to gain power. They will never be able to relinquish that. Okay? They will never. The left and the Democrats are so drugged up on COVID power because that's how they like thrive. That's how they gain their power. That's how they gain their like abuse of power through COVID. COVID is like a vehicle. COVID is like crack cocaine to these people. It is because they can't get off of it. They can't. And for some reason, you have people like the New York State Board of Ed basically using COVID. They're addicted to COVID like crack cocaine in order to abuse everyone that won't submit to their fucking bullshit. Pretty much. Pretty much. And to me, that's an abuse of power. That's what you see in third world authoritarian countries, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you see. Not in deep blue states, but in third world authoritarian dictators. That's where you see this shit happening. But it's happening here in America right now. And this is why we need to basically get rid of every fucking Branch Covidian, every leftist, socialist, communist, Democrat in this country. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, it's abuse of power. And you want to know how bad the abuse of power has gone, folks? Give you another example. In the same place from reclaimthenet.org, there's a lawsuit going on by gun rights groups with the state of New York over the fact that New York wants your social media accounts in order to give you a right to have a gun. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, the gist of this is that New York, because they have to comply with the Supreme Court's Bruin standard, said that you have to give these people like a right to have a gun. It's enshrined in the Constitution. You can't obstruct it. So New York said, okay, we'll do it, but we'll have to set up regulations. One of their regulations is so intrusive that violates every known right in this country, including your civil and your privacy rights. They basically want to do this, where in order for you to have a pistol permit, you have to submit every social media account that you have. They want to do this in order for you to get a gun permit. Last I checked, having social media sites does not constitute having a gun. But to the lunatic communist left in New York, they think that it is, because they want to make their premise is that, oh, you might be an evil Trump supporter or an evil MAGA Republican. We want to make sure you're not one of these before we let you have a gun. Basically, New York is doing what Democrats did in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when they made voting rights and voting access very hard for blacks. That is what they're doing right now. They're doing that for gun rights and gun owners. They're making it very hard for people to own a gun, and basically making it very hard for them to defend themselves by saying, oh, we're going to have to put up barriers. You're going to have to go through this and this and this before we let you have a gun. The same group of Democrats that put barriers to prevent people from voting. It's the same bullshit, folks. It's the same bullshit that Democrats have pulled. And I tell you this, they're doing this right now in New York State. And gun rights groups are taking New York State to court over this. It seems like the people in New York State hate gun rights, hate freedom-loving people. They hate people who own a gun. They hate you for defending yourself. They hate you for having a constitutional right to defend yourself. Because you know why? The lunatic left in New York State is all in bed with the criminal enterprise. It is. They're all in bed with the thugs and the criminals. That's why you see Democrats electing socialist, progressive prosecutors who won't go after people who commit hardened crimes. But they'll go after like conservatives or anyone who commit like a soft crime. But they won't go after people who commit like robbery, rape, murder. But they'll go after anyone who stepped foot in the Capitol on January 6th. It's why, guys. It's why, guys, ladies and gentlemen, the lunatic left is insane here. And for them to put up so many barriers for people to own a gun, including the fact that they want you to submit a social media profile and have you list all your social media accounts in order to get a gun. That's fucked up right there, guys. That's fucked up. That is fucked up. And yet, this is the same left, ladies and gentlemen. This is the same left who doesn't do background checks on teachers, and then you wonder why you have like rumors in the classroom teaching kids about gay sex or transgenderism, and yet they won't do a background check on these teachers, but will do a background check and demand they see your social media account in order for you to own a gun. I'll tell you what, left. You want to compromise on this? Here's my compromise. And this will get shut down in less than 2 seconds. If the left wants to see everyone's social media accounts in order to own a gun, then you know what? I want to see the same thing if you want to teach a kid in school. I want to see every teacher's social media account. And I want the teachers to face the same background check in order to get a gun. In order to teach your kid in school, I want them to face the same background check that gun owners have to face. Let's play the euphemisms and word games with them. If they want to do this to gun owners in this country, then I want to do this to every teachers in this country as well. I want every teacher in the United States of America to go through the same background check that gun owners have to go through, including having access into your social media profiles. Same thing. You and the left want to demand that to gun owners. I, Nicky, want to demand that on teachers as well. We can play games like that. We can play games like that, left. We can. We can play games. Because I'll tell you, you want that on, you want me as a gun owner to submit a social media profile in order to have access to a gun? Then I demand the same thing on teachers in order for them to teach in school. Same thing. Let's see how fast the left shuts it down real quick once we impose that demand on teachers. When we start imposing that requirement on teachers, watch how fast the left shuts that down real quick, and they'll be like, don't do it on gun owners. Don't do it. Don't do it. If they do it on gun owners, they're going to do it on teachers, and then they're going to expose our leftist ideology and all this bullshit, and we don't want that. Shut it down. You'll hear that real quick. Because if they want to do that to us gun owners, I want to do that on teachers who want to teach in school. Make them go through the same background check that they're demanding gun owners on. Watch how fast the left shuts that argument down in less than 2 seconds. They'll shut that argument so fast it'll make your fucking head spin. It'll really do, folks. It really do. But believe me, folks. Believe me. If the left wants to impose this shit, I say we do the same Same thing on them. You know what I mean? Flip the tables on them. Okay? They want to impose this on gun owners, saying that, oh, you have to submit your social media profiles in order to let you have a gun. Well, same thing. We want you to submit your social media profiles, go through the same background check in order to teach in school. Watch how fast they shut that shit down in 2 seconds. And watch them like say, no, we can't do that. Because I'll give you an example of that. They're already doing that already. The House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, as per agreement to be House Speaker, okay, folks, as per agreement, he had to kick out several key Democrats out of certain committees. That is what, including like Leon Omar, kicked her out of the Foreign Affairs Committee for her anti-Jewish hatred, and then kicked out Pencil Neck Shift and Adam Slowell, who was dating Fang, the Chinese communist spy. They told you it's an example of, you do that to us, us Democrats. When we get what we want, we're gonna do the same to you. We're gonna flip the script. We're gonna trade fire. Let's see how you guys like it. You set a precedent. We're gonna play by those rules, and we're gonna let you feel those rules. We are, ladies and gentlemen. But that's why, folks. That's why I say this. Make the left live by their own rules and standards. If the left is all in on sexualizing your kid, or is all in on illegal immigration and all that shit, make them live by their own rules and make them live by their words. By saying if they are all for illegal immigration, then they should be welcoming that we are giving them the illegal immigrants that they say they love and support. Make them live by their own words. Seriously. Make them live by their own words. You do that, the left will cave in, and they'll be like, oh shit, we shouldn't have done that. We demanded Republicans, now they're doing that to us. Nope, we're shutting it down. Yeah. That's all. That's one way to do it. Make them live by their own rules. You know what I mean? They say like this, new rules, baby. Guess what? You want us to follow it? We're going to make you follow it. Watch how fast they shut it down. They'll shut that thing down in less than 2 seconds flat. They literally will. They literally will, guys. Literally. They'll literally will. And believe me, they'll shut it down quick. They'll shut it down really quick. Okay? They will. They will, guys. They'll shut that down really quick. Alright? Anyway, guys, I want to segue this into another article on the Daily Signal. I saw, and it leaves the same thing. Okay? It seems to me the Centers for Deception and Control, aka the CDC, it seems to me they've been getting doctors to basically put an ICD code on people who refuse to take the vaccine. Basically, they've been spying and making a list of people who are unvaccinated, which is clearly a violation. And now you got congressmen like Andy Briggs looking into this and going, that's fucked up. That is wrong. on so many levels. That is wrong on so many levels, that the CDC has forced doctors to document and send them a list of people who refuse to take the vaccine. I wouldn't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm on that list too. I wouldn't be surprised, because I refuse to take the vaccine. I refuse to take the jab. I refuse simply because I know what the vaccine is doing to people, the harm. And I've been reading the articles that say, oh shit, people are coming down with this and this because of the vaccine. They're getting injured because of this and this and this. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, I say this: if the CDC is doing this to people, that to me is a clear violation of people's rights. And the CDC needs to be held accountable. And I'm glad the Republicans are in the House Oversight Committee, and we can get to the bottom of this. And if necessary, get them out immediately. I'm glad. But I'll say this, folks. I'll say this. It is clearly illegal to have a list. Even though the left loves to have a list. They love to have a list of gun owners. They love to have a list of, like, people who hate them, or people who are anti-constitution, anti-authoritarian. They love those lists, folks. Trust me when I tell you this. They are in love with lists. They love lists so much. So much so that the CDC decided to create a list of all the people who refuse to take the COVID vaccine. They love to. They're in love with having a list. Yeah. They are so in love with having a list of people. They love lists. They're addicted to lists. Yes, they are. I'm calling them out on that. They are so addicted to having a list. Not even fucking funny, folks. They are so addicted to it. They are. It's like a drug addiction. It's like a drug addict. Okay? Democrats are like drug addicts. They're addicted to power. They're addicted to having a list. That's what they are, folks. That's what they are. And they're so addicted to it. It's not even fucking funny. It is not even funny anymore. It isn't. They are addicted to it. It's like a drug addiction that they can't get out of. It's like a drug high that they have. And that drug high is so bad that it's not even fucking funny. It's not. It isn't. But seriously, they are in love with a list. And they are so addicted to that list. They are. They are, folks. They are. Alright? And before we go, guys, I want to talk about this article from the Blaze. Senator Rand Paul is coming out with legislation that will prohibit hospitals from discriminating on those who are not vaccinated from those who do not take the vaccine, because there have been several stories where people who like, say, for example, are on heart transplants or kidney transplants, they were denied being put on a kidney transplant list or heart transplant list because they refused to take the vaccine. I go like this, folks. That's discrimination right there. That is illegal discrimination. To use our tax-paying dollars to discriminate those who need a heart transplant, a kidney transplant, and all that, and to say, oh no, you can't be on a heart or kidney transplant unless you take the COVID vaccine. That's basically bullying. and discrimination. And Senator Rand Paul, who's a physician, and I support him, is taking up legislation where hospitals cannot discriminate on those who refuse the vaccine. And I support his legislation. And I, for one, guys, think this is a good legislation to have in this country. And everyone should support it, because you should not be discriminated if you didn't take the vaccine. And I believe that if you got a hospital that is basically saying, oh, if you don't take the vaccine, well, guess what? You're not on a transplant list. You're not on this and this and this and this list. Well, you know what? Well, if your hospital's doing that, then your hospital shouldn't be funded by the federal government. Then your hospitals should not have federal funding whatsoever. It shouldn't. And basically, guys, I'm all supportive of that. I really am. I really am supportive of it. And I think like this. Any healthcare facility that denies healthcare access on the basis of vaccine status should have their federal funding revoked immediately. And I am one of those people who advocate for basically getting the vaccine mandate removed. Okay? That means like this. You can't fire or not hire anyone if they didn't have the vaccine or not. And if you do that, you should be subject to civil and criminal penalties. You should. Okay? You shouldn't use the COVID vaccine as a basis for hiring or firing someone. You shouldn't. That's discrimination right there. The left loves to discriminate based on that. Yeah, they do. They really do. They love that. That's their favorite line. They love to discriminate. They really do, guys. So that's why I am all for removing the COVID vaccine mandate for healthcare workers and making it illegal to mandate that. I believe that should be federal and state law. That should. Plain and simple. All right? Anyway, guys, I'm here at Cumberland Farms. I got to do a diaper check. I got to get my cup of coffee. All right? But I thank you guys for listening to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host. I will see y'all soon. Bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nicky's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.